NASCAR at Kansas Motor Speedway. That shit was fantastic. If I curse more in this video, I'm sorry. I just, it's who I am. If you're like a kid, just don't curse. I mean, parents, you should do that job and, tell your kids not to curse. But I don't know, this is not how I thought I would start the video, being like a parent. I just have to be who I am. So anyways, yeah, this shit was amazing. Holy goddamn. So let's talk about the race. Let's go through what happened, and then we'll give the opinions. And now you must be wondering, like, oh, Radman, you said you hate the package, and it's absolute garbage. Well, yes, it is. And I was gonna tweet something before, but I was at a baseball game. I was kind of busy doing my internship. I wanted to tweet that if tonight has to work, because this is what the package was made for. It's made for night racing. It's made for... Why is my phone moving? I see it gently moving. Hold on. Anyways, as I was saying, this package had to work. It had to work here. This is what it was made for. It was made for cold temps. It was made for not a brand new racetrack, but not an old bumpy racetrack. It was made for progressive banking. I was really hoping tonight would be a good race, and I had an expectation that it would be, because again, this package doesn't work on a hot slick racetrack. It doesn't work at a bumpy racetrack. It doesn't really work at a freshly paved racetrack if it's in hot temps. And so this package is very one-dimensional in what it can work in. And when I mean work, I mean what NASCAR is specifically looking for from this package, which is a lot of closer racing, but also side by side, and giving drivers the ability to showcase their talent in a different way instead of like a lot of off throttle time. It's kind of like IndyCar, I want to say, if you guys watch IndyCar, where, and again, I don't watch a lot, but I'm just trying, you probably know more about it than I do, but if you are at a track like in IndyCar where the drivers blip the throttle, they're not full throttle, but they're not off throttle a lot, they just blip it. And that's the line that NASCAR has to find with this package to get it to work. If you're at a really hot racetrack with 550 horsepower and what we have, you're not going to be blipping the throttle. You're going to be off the throttle a good amount for a second or two. So for this package to work in this style of racing, which that's a whole other debate. Do you like the style of racing? Do you want more off throttle time, more on throttle time? But for this style of racing, it works, and you have to have the right temperature. So that's why it was very, very good. And I'm very glad that it worked out that way, which means Charlotte should be really good too. Again, we'll talk more about that. Let's start to go off to the race. Man, like 13 cars failed post-qualifying inspection. A lot of cars failed post-qualifying inspection. 2 SHR cars. Truex failed. Larson failed. Elliott failed. Logano failed. Some other guys failed. It was a mess over there. But Harvick was able to keep his qualifying position and start on pole, and he dominated most of the first stage. I mean, there wasn't really much to talk about, but the racing was good. So as you saw guys like Logano and Elliott passing their way up to the front, you had Kevin Harvick dominating, and a few cautions that fell in here. I think Denny Hamlin had a little bit of a tire issue and a crush panel issue. Denny Hamlin's not had a past few good races lately. But there were times where pit strategy put Harvick back in like 10th, and he got back to the lead within like 5 laps. It was the restarts were more exciting, just more action-packed, and that's what you get from this package for the first like lap or two. That's what's gonna happen. It's whether the package can sustain and whether it can hold, which usually it doesn't. So Harvick wins stage number 1. Pit strategy goes around, and I think the guys that are really mainly up there is Harvick. The one guy that you think can challenge him at this moment of the race is Chase Elliott, and that's what Chase Elliott would do in stage 2. He'd actually drive around Harvick in the stage 2 and pass him, and eventually end up winning the stage as well, which was very, very impressive for Chase Elliott. Not much happening in terms of cautions or anything like that, but again, just solid racing. Because of the way Kansas is, it's progressive banking, and Kansas has not usually been a bad race. I don't remember Kansas really having a bad race since the progressive banking and the new repave took shape, and now the top and the bottom are very similar in what you can do. Again, very good racing, and it was nice to see. Move on into stage 3, and we have a lot of different contenders coming up now. Kevin Harvick's leading stage 3 until he has what he thinks is a tire issue. I don't think it's been confirmed what really it was, because apparently, according to Fox, it wasn't a tire issue. There was nothing wrong with the tires. So Harvick said he felt something. The Fox guys were saying there was tape on the grill. There was tape on the grill, but I don't know how tape would make him feel like something was wrong with the right front tire. Whatever Harvick was feeling, apparently nothing was really wrong with the car, so he just kind of pitted. And he went a lap down. But if it stayed green, maybe he could get his way back. Fuel strategy would have been a little bit iffy. Probably had to pit one more time than the other guys if it went green the entire way. But there was new contenders up towards the front. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was up towards the front. Chase Elliott slid back a little bit, and his teammate Alex Bowman came forward. And Alex Bowman was in the lead at this moment. Kyle Busch, who was running in 10th most of the night, found his way to second place and was trying to run down Alex Bowman and pressure him. And again, just really, really solid racing. They're close together. They can trail each other sometimes. Most of the time, you kind of go your separate ways and make sure you find that clean air. But it's not like you were 2 tenths behind and the dirty air just completely waked you aside and you had no run. The aero ducts played a big part in this. Even if a driver got a little bit loose, the draft was very sufficient, and the aero ducts allowed him to kind of stay in that trail and push. This was the first time that I've ever seen drivers just run the high lane in the tri-oval at Kansas, because momentum was such a big thing and you just wanted to keep your momentum up. So instead of just going to the bottom of the tri-oval like you normally do, because the shortest way around, just stay up there and get the high lane. And especially, you don't want anyone passing you on the outside, because the side force being a very big deal. 50 laps to go. Green flag pit stops are happening. 7 cars have not pitted yet. Caution comes out. This was for Ryan Newman's pit crew, leaving a tire out onto the grass. And in the new day and new rules, usually this actually wouldn't bring out a caution. Someone could just go run out and get it, but we kind of fixed that. If there's ever a tire out in the grass or in the pit road, caution's automatically thrown. So caution comes out right in the middle of green flag pit stops, messes up the entire basically running order. But Bowman stayed out. Stenhouse Jr. was out there as well. Elliott was out there. I think Kyle Busch was out there as well. So they haven't pitted yet, but a lot of guys pitted that were running in that 5th to 10th to 15th area. They pitted. They were a lap down, but they would have to go take the wave round to get their lap back. 10 laps later, because it took NASCAR a really long time to get the order settled out, and basically even Fox went to commercial. But when it got settled back out, this was the best part of the race. I mean, this was really, really good. It initially started with Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman going 1v1. Elliott was leading. Bowman was right always on him. And it was just kind of a game. Bowman would go to the high side, try to get a run. Elliott would just go to the bottom, get the run through the corner. He was about a 10th faster through the corners when running on the bottom, but Bowman would gain a 10th going to the straights because of the aero ducts and because of the run he's getting off the top side. And so Elliott was just trying to hold him off. Stenhouse was not that far back. Caution would come out for, I think it was, there was a debris incident. I think it was Ryan Blaney left debris all over the track. So caution comes out for Blaney, and they restart, and we go again. And this restart was insane. This restart was Bowman and Elliott going side by side for an entire lap. Stenhouse then cuts down low to make it 3 wide. He takes over the lead. I think they were like 5 wide at one point. It was going absolutely crazy. Kyle Busch got in a little bit of trouble in the tri-oval because Chase Elliott had to save his car. I mean, I don't even have footage of the save, but Chase Elliott's save was nuts. He was dead sideways coming out of turn 4, and he was able to save it, but it caused a big checkup, and Kyle Busch got some contact, and he had to come right down pit road, so he would end up finishing 3 laps down. Another caution comes out for DiBenedetto. At this point of the race, it's Bowman who is leading, and when Elliott gets really loose, there are some guys who are on fresh 4 Goodyear Eagles. And from that last caution, because that last caution was only 11 laps, Bowman stayed out, Elliott stayed out. Guys like Keselowski, Eric Jones, they pitted. And so Keselowski was in 2nd. Eric Jones was in 3rd. Jimmie Johnson, who's been running 20th to 15th all night, somehow in 4th. I have no idea how. And Bowman had to defend Keselowski. And Bowman was doing a really good job. I think he saw what Elliott was doing to him, and he started doing it to Keselowski, which is Bowman just kept going to the bottom in the corners, and then kind of just letting Keselowski gain a little bit on the straightaways. But because Bowman was always going to be that 10th faster, taking the shorter way around, it wasn't really enough for Keselowski to get to him. Until coming off turn 2 one lap, Keselowski did get to him. And this is where Bowman made the mistake. So Alex Bowman has not been in a lot of race-winning scenarios in his career. He's getting into more. He's, been finishing well lately. But he hasn't been in those race-winning scenarios with 10 laps to go where you got to fight 1v1 for the win. And his inexperience showed here, because he should have known that you don't give up the outside. There's a reason why everyone's running the top in the tri-oval. There's a reason why everyone's blocking on restarts to get to the high line. You don't give up the outside because of how powerful the side draft is and the side force. If someone's going to pass you, you have to make them pass you on the bottom. Even if they do pass you on the bottom, you can kind of pull off a little slide job crossover kind of coming out of the corner, because you will have the momentum coming off the top, and then you have to, you try to slide up in front of them. But Bowman tried blocking down the back straightaway, and Keselowski just faked him out. He went in, then went back out, and once he got back out, Bowman was going to wreck himself if he tried blocking. And he gave up the outside lane, and Keselowski just drove right around him. So that was a very big mistake, and that's when I knew Bowman lost the race. Once Keselowski got around him, at that point he lost preference in the restart if a caution would come out, and he'd probably be restarting in the inside lane, and it wasn't going to work. Caution does come out with 5 to go because DiBenedetto blew an engine, but Bowman restarted 3rd on this restart, I think. And on the restart, not much happened at the end of the race here. Well, actually, a lot happened, just not for the leader. Keselowski pulled away. Stenhouse and Bowman and Eric Jones all fighting, side drafting each other. And when they're side drafting each other, it was a done deal. It was very interesting. I think Bowman and Elliott laid back too much, and they didn't time the restart properly, because Elliott was way off the bumper of Bowman, and Bowman was way off the bumper of Keselowski, and the guys on the top side were kind of hooked up. So that allowed Keselowski to get in front, and that also made second and third fight. And when those two fight and the lead car was out in front, it was a done deal. So Brad Keselowski wins at Kansas. Third win of the season, and a very, very entertaining race. To the race results, Brad Keselowski in first, Alex Bowman. I said last week I have to give him credit for he did very well at Dover, and he also did very well here. It's clear that the Hendrick cars have been better in the recent weeks, and Bowman has taken advantage of that. He's finished better than Elliott in Dover and here at Kansas. I don't think he's run better. I think Elliott's led more laps, but Bowman has finished ahead of him, and he's been running in the top 5 in both races. He's finished ahead of Byron and Jimmie as well, run way better than them. He has to keep it up. I'm still not completely sold on Alex Bowman. Got to keep it up. Have to fix those few mistakes in race-winning scenarios, but the only way to fix those mistakes is to keep putting yourself in race-winning scenarios. Erik Jones quietly in third. He had a little bit of a scuffle with Clint Bowyer towards the end. He blocked him with 1 lap to go, coming to 1 lap to go in the tri-oval, and probably should have gotten wrecked, but Bowyer checked up and didn't wreck him. Bowyer was pretty pissed afterwards, but it's just hard racing. As a fan, you like to see it. You want to see that. As a driver, if you don't block, you get passed, and if you block, you maybe get wrecked. If you don't wreck the guy, you're going to be mad because you feel like, in Clint Bowyer's scenario, you gave up a few positions. It's racing. It happens. And next time, if Jones blocks and Bowyer's behind him, maybe Bowyer doesn't lift. Bowyer wrecks him. Erik Jones is going head on into the wall at 180 miles per hour. So very risky there, but that's why we race. So no really arguments there from a fan standpoint. That's what you want to see in NASCAR. You want to see anger after a race. You want to see displeasure from drivers and personality. That's what we want. But Erik Jones does get that third place finish, and again, he's still quiet, shows up during the race, but he's kind of running top 5. He's Matt Kenseth. That's all I have to say. He's Matt Kenseth. Chase Elliott continuing his good run. He did win a stage in stage 2, and he finished 4th. I think that's another top 5 finish. Last 3 races, just like Bowman, have been great for him, except Elliott got that win and Bowman hasn't gotten it. But the speed from the 9 car is more important to see, because I think a lot of people see Chase Elliott as a championship contender when the speed is given to him. He's arguably, or not really arguably, the best Hendrick driver at the moment. Hopefully Bowman can compete for that, but over the last 3 years, Chase Elliott has been the leading horseman for Hendrick, and so he is the championship contender if the car has speed. Clint Bowyer in 5th, again, probably lost a few spots because of the block, but he was running up there as well. Jimmie Johnson. Now, I was getting sick of Jimmie Johnson earlier in the race because, this guy was running like 20th, 17th, 15th all race. Byron had a few mistakes, but he was up there a little bit, and Bowman and Elliott were obviously up there, so I was getting ticked off. I was like, all right, Jimmie, what's going on now? He does get a 6th place finish. This has a lot to do with how the pit stops kind of went down and the restarts, and he was able to scuffle his way up there. He didn't show the speed to finish 6th. He finished 6th. That's good. But for Jimmie Johnson standards, he was running 15th. So for you Jimmie Johnson fans, if you're happy, congratulations. I'm still very skeptical. Of course, I want to see him back at the top level, but he's been very, very poor. And yes, a good finish works here, but he needs to show speed like his teammates are. Kurt Busch in 7th, solid run. Kyle Larson in 8th. At least he didn't finish 20th or worse like he's done most of the season. 2 solid finishes, keep it going. And then the rest of this lineup, as you can see, 9th and 10th, pretty good. Tyler Reddick and Chris Buescher. Buescher actually probably should have finished higher than 10th. He ran very well. That black 37 car was very, very competitive throughout most of the race, and he was up there, and it was a really good run for him. He's probably one of the votes for the best driver of the race. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 11th, probably should have finished much higher than that. I actually don't even know how he got to 11th. He was up there fighting for the lead, but I must have lost him at the end of the race because something happened to him and he went all the way back to 11th. I'm not really sure what happened there. I think he pitted, maybe just got lost in the restart. Eric Almirola in 12th, Kevin Harvick in 13th. Harvick, again, he had a pit for that tire thing, and then he just wasn't able to really get back up there. I think he got the free pass, but Suarez, Logano, Hamlin, Austin Dillon, Hemrick, Truex, and William Byron round out the top 20, and then the rest of the results. You see Kyle Busch in 30th. His top 10 streak is done. And shout out to Bubba Wallace, not really for finishing well. He finished in 29th, but shout out to Bubba because he's been going through a lot. And trust me, I get it. I'm still going through it too, and hopefully he wears his emotions on his sleeve, and it sucks seeing the guy go through that. But we all do, and hopefully he gets better soon. And that was the Kansas race. If I had to give a rating, it was a 9 out of 10, maybe 9.5. It was very, very, very good. Green white checker could have been a little bit better just from an entertainment standpoint, but I mean, come on, we're asking for a little bit too much here. It was a really, really good race. This is what the package was made for. I think NASCAR should take a closer look at track and weather conditions with the packages that they use, because this clearly works for night races. It has worked at Charlotte twice, and it has worked here at night as well. And it just makes sense. They wanted to up the horsepower because 410, 450 was too low, but 550 might be a little bit too much for a hot, slick track. So for what they specifically want, they need cooler temperature. I've been a big advocate of more night races, but because the ratings are not higher for night races normally because it's a Saturday night, not a Sunday afternoon, and because most of NASCAR's fan base is old and they like to sleep on Saturday nights, and, you know, they get in their rocking chairs on a Sunday afternoon, and that's the Sunday tradition. Old fans, come attack me, I dare you. I'm a big fan of Saturday nights. I like the short track racing vibe of Saturday nights, and the full moon wreckage that always goes on Saturday nights. I always want more Saturday night races, but they've cut back from it in recent years. If you want to go with this package or mile and a halfs, night races. Hell, make Sunday night races. I don't care. I just want more night races, man. They look cool. The cars under the lights look cool. And for racing purposes, with this package that I still hate but works here, make more Saturday night races. Make more night races. You can do it. If Homestead is not a full night race, yeah, you can change it. With your TV deal and whatever, I'm pretty sure you can change Homestead from a 3 o'clock race to a 7 o'clock race. Put that entire thing at night, and now we're talking, because we need a cool racetrack. And now we're gonna get going a little bit for that championship race. So make Homestead a night race. I'm petitioning for that. Please do it. If you guys like the video, make sure you hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Again, really solid race. If I had to pick driver, this is something I'm gonna do for more often. If I'm gonna pick driver of the day, I would say driver of the day is, I'm really close between Chris Buescher and Alex Bowman, but I will pick Alex Bowman because he did run very well, finished second again. Chris Buescher is a close second. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you're not already, at RealRadman, the same username and everything. And I'll see you guys later. Hope you're having well, it's probably 1:30 a.m. by the time I upload this, so good night. And if you're watching this in the morning, good morning. Eat some breakfast. And watch the Premier League Championship tomorrow morning. That's going to be lit. All right, bye. See ya.